Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are unpacking a really fascinating concept from our source material that basically challenges everything we think we know about educational friction. We're looking at the alchemy of student adversity. So instead of viewing daily struggles as these massive roadblocks, we're going to explore the framework of transforming raw, difficult student challenges into undeniable success.
Okay, let's dive into this. What if a student's absolute worst day is actually their greatest asset? I know, it sounds a little counterintuitive, right? Our immediate instinct, whether we're educators, parents, or mentors, is almost always damage control. We want to jump in, fix the issue, and smooth out that friction as quickly as humanly possible. But what if those terrible, no-good days are exactly the raw materials required for profound personal and academic growth?
To really make that leap, we need to look at the word alchemy. By definition, it's the seemingly magical process of transformation, creation, or combination. Now, historically, alchemists tried to turn heavy, useless lead into actual gold. In the modern classroom, well, obviously we aren't working with metal, but we are working with human potential. We're taking the heavy, frustrating experiences of a student's life and literally transforming them.
That brings us to Section 1, the base metals, identifying student problems.
You see, in the alchemical process, you can't just magically create gold out of thin air. You have to start with base metals. For our students, these base metals are everyday adversities. We're talking about academic struggles, intense social pressures, time management deficits, and of course, that paralyzing fear of failure. Our source material makes it really clear. Acknowledging these heavy metals is step number one. I mean, we can't transform a composition we refuse to even hold, right? By validating the sheer weight of these raw, unfiltered challenges, we're setting the stage for genuine growth. And to do this, we need a major paradigm shift. Ready? Adversity isn't the roadblock. It is the raw material. When a student hits a brick wall, that wall is the very substance used to build their next phase of development. Without it, there is absolutely zero potential for the alchemy of growth.
Moving right along to Section 2, the turning point, transmutation in action.
So to actually spark this chemical reaction, we need a catalyst. Our source text focuses heavily on the active word turning, and there's a specific three-step process for this transmutation. First up, acknowledge the problem. Don't sweep it under the rug. Second, shift your perspective. Try framing the problem as a puzzle to solve rather than some reflection of self-worth. And finally, step 3, identify the hidden opportunity. Ask yourself, what specific skill or insight is this friction trying to teach? These actionable steps basically act as the flame under the crucible. They teach the student the exact mechanism of turning a setback into a stepping stone.
And that brings us to a core thesis straight from the text, turning problems into opportunities for school students. Now notice that action verb. It doesn't say surviving and it doesn't say coping. It says turning. It demands real effort and the steadfast belief that inside every single problem is an opportunity just waiting to be extracted. It completely elevates the student from being a passive victim of their circumstances to an active creator of their future.
Let's look at the final result in Section 3, the gold, uncovering the opportunities.
So what is the actual, tangible benefit born from all this heat? Well, now, what's really interesting about this transmutation is how stark the contrast is when we apply the framework. Take a super common base metal, failing a test. We all know it feels awful. But when it's processed intentionally, the resulting gold is the building of resiliency and the refinement of study habits. Think about it. If a student just breezes through every single assessment, they never actually learn how to analyze their own learning gaps. The failure itself is the exact mechanism required to forge a much more capable student.
And you know, the exact same thing applies to social conflict. A falling out with a friend, that is incredibly stressful raw material for a kid. But through active turning, it develops emotional intelligence and vital communication skills. You literally cannot teach empathy or boundary setting from a textbook. It has to be forged in the fires of real human conflict. In this way, the conflict itself is the classroom.
Ultimately, the big takeaway here is that the goal isn't avoiding problems, it's creating opportunities. Actually, if we just clear the path and act like a snowplow removing all obstacles for our students, we are stealing their base metals. The real, lasting gold, stuff like character, resilience, and intelligence, is only found in the fires of the challenges they overcome.
Which leaves us with one really crucial question to wrap things up. What problem will your student transform today? The next time you see a learner struggling under the weight of a heavy base metal, I want you to remember that you aren't looking at a tragedy. You are looking at the very beginning of an alchemical reaction. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll leave you to consider what hidden gold might be waiting in your own daily friction.